Well, hi there, everyone. Julie Gardner, Rise of Wealth. Y'all, I am so excited to have with us today Latoya Mims. She is in the house. Woohoo! And she is from the Wildflower Alliance. Yeah. And we're going to talk about that today. She is so amazing. She used to have a background in, well, she still has her certificate, clinical laboratory scientist. Hello. She can do better math than me and details, which is important. But she's now the founder and executive director of the Wildflower Alliance, what is that? Tell us briefly what you do and who do you serve?
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me, first of all. And so let's jump into it, the Wildflower Alliance. So the Wildflower Alliance is a nonprofit organization that was birthed out of our own journey of parenting our 6-year-old who was diagnosed with cerebral palsy and epilepsy. And the goal, the mission of our organization is to reimagine what communities look like for families of children with disabilities. And we do so through creating equitable life experiences for families, because again, we know that when the diagnosis comes, it knocks the life out of you, it knocks the breath out of you, it robs you of all of your dreams. And so what we try to do is reintroduce that to families. So we are super committed to changing systems, access for families, and then envisioning a future or just an Alabama and eventual nation where inclusion is the standard and not the exception.
I love it. I love it. And some of y'all might not know this fun fact about me. I actually have a degree in special education. In second grade, Margot entered our classroom and she was blind. She probably still is. But I got to learn about Braille.
Yeah.
You never know with technology nowadays. And I haven't talked to Margot, and I don't know where she is nowadays. That was second grade. And then when I was 8 years old, my mom handed me the Joy of Signing book, and I started learning sign. And I feel like I've always been in the room with somebody with a disability. So it's not new to me. And I'm a fan of, my philosophy when I was a school teacher was, hey, you got to breathe the air with the rest of us. Let's see how far we can take your abilities.
Absolutely.
So I would love to equip them. And I just laugh look at Latoya. She's a mom of 2. Would you even know? It's probably, look how rested she looks.
Listen, today was planned. So that's why.
Today, well, she is aided by the help of her handsome husband, Henry. And what a treasure to get to have a partner with you on the journey.
Absolutely.
And he's very involved, isn't he?
Absolutely. It's not like he has much of a choice, but also he is a wonderful husband, great dad. I think, again, I like that you brought up that he's my partner in it, because a lot of people kind of lose that. Again, when you get the diagnosis, so much changes, including marriages. And we truly were intentional about fighting for ours, strengthening it, and getting through this together. Because the stronger we are as a unit, the better we can advocate for Harper, and the more then she gets to thrive. So I think that, again, that's one of our goals: support the family holistically, and it starts at home. So we know that we have to pour into each other in order for Harper to thrive.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I love about you is if you go on the website, the Wildflower Alliance group, you can see a lot of the resources that Latoya's offered. And one of them is a blog, like a video blog. And I love that she's a mama bear, because her advocacy is strong and she's feisty, which quite frankly, we need that, right?
Absolutely. Especially in this lane, you're already so defeated and worn out in other areas through your own advocacy, what your own journey is. So you need people who has a little bit of extra strength that'll speak up for everybody, because sometimes you just don't have, that strength. You just don't, you're tired. There's a lot that we do. And so I'm happy to lend my voice to any family who definitely needs that advocacy outside of what their own journey is.
Yes. And Latoya has 2 sweet children. One is Harper, and she does have cerebral palsy. And you found out at 4 months old, right?
Yeah. So we actually didn't get her actual diagnosis until she was almost 2. So she's about 18 months. But she actually was just diagnosed with developmental delays. At 4 months, her head was measuring a little small. That was literally the only indication that something was going on. And it wasn't so small that it was just like, oh my gosh, we could like, it was just a little small, and it was like, let's just be sure, let's be safe. And then that kind of uncovered some of those issues that we would never have known about. And then 9 months is when she truly started missing her milestones. And even then, again, she wasn't so far off from the milestone. And so it was just like, well, let's just see, let's keep working towards it. Let's get her involved in early intervention. Let's work on it. So that's what we did. And then it became very apparent at 12 months when she was still needing help sitting up. She still couldn't walk or stand independently. And so then that's when we started, getting more additional, I'll say, therapy appointments to try to figure out what was going on. And then at 18 months, we were finally told she has mild cerebral palsy, because again, she's not so far off, but the more she grows is when we can kind of see what the developmental issues are. They become more apparent.
So let's walk through this journey. And those of you that are watching this, you're like, wait, I didn't know I thought I was signing up to listen to Julie talk about how to help me work credit cards. Well, for this episode, anyone you know that has a child with disabilities, or listen, and you might be able to use something for your own children. It's all good. I mean, all of our children are wonderful and special. And her little one, Mason, who's 2 years old, he's also special in her heart. So,
yeah.
And all of us want to be known for our exceptionalities, right? I want to be known that I have this super bionic smile.
Yeah.
And, we all want to be included. So there you go. And I was asking what's special about the two kids. Side note here. And Harper and how old is Harper now?
Harper is 6 now.
She's 6. Okay. Well, she's acting like a 12-year-old that likes to just hang out and watch TV all day.
Yes, absolutely. It's the truth. And she literally, we could say, hey, we're getting ready to go, to the store or to do this thing. And she's like, yeah, no, I want to be at home. Like, just leave me here. And so we have to actually leave the house. And if you forget something, it's the worst, because it's like, she's like, yes, we're going back home. But then once we start pulling back out, she is tearing it up in the car, and we're like, hey, we'll go and watch Mickey Mouse later. Like, you have to make some kind of promise to say, we're coming back. I promise we're not taking you away forever. So Harper is definitely a couch potato, but in the best way, right? Because she wants you to sit there with her. And she's like, get a blanket, and she's trying to get literally inside of your skin. Like, let's cuddle and watch Moana. So I mean,
she's your snuggle bug.
She is. She really is.
And then you thought, let's have some more adventure. And you had another baby, Mason. And as the youngest child, I can speak firmly that we love to be the center of attention. And you said he loves to sing and dance.
Oh my gosh. Mason will sing and dance until he cannot sing and dance anymore, until he literally has to lay down to go to sleep. Mason is literally, opposite of Harper, but they are best friends. It's really strange, because Harper does love music. She loves singing. She loves dancing. She loves it, but not like Mason. Mason I don't know if everybody knows the movie Sing. Well, Sing came out with this little, I don't even know, it's like a little music video that's Thriller. So it's the Michael Jackson Thriller version of Sing. And my 2-year-old has memorized that entire video. So you can randomly let's say we were at Harper's therapy appointment. I took her to the bathroom, and you just saw Mason doing, and we were like, what's happening right now? And he did the Thriller dance. He went through it. He was, he was the zombie, and then he did the Thriller move. And I said, oh, he's doing Thriller right now. He didn't start singing. He just broke into his dance, and that's our Mason. That's what he's going to do. So when he's asking for Baby Shark, it doesn't matter if we're on the 72nd time that we're listening to Baby Shark today. Once you say, yeah, no more Baby Shark today, he's just going to start singing it for you. I'll sing it, and I'll do the dance, and I expect you to do the dance with me. So,
oh my goodness.
Yeah,
that speaks volumes about your family, that they want we just need to be together.
Yeah.
We just need all family bonding. I just love that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we do too.
So Walk me through. So if somebody's tapping in and they're like, my kid just got a diagnosis, or dang, we have been circling the drain, just trying to stay alive, keeping everything together mentally, emotionally. Tell us about just your journey of when you got the diagnosis. What were some of the emotions? How did you get resources? And was there a struggle to get the resources?
Absolutely, all of the above. I mean, when we got the diagnosis, I definitely, well, I'll even say this, even before the diagnosis, once a issue presented to us, you immediately go, because we are a family whose journey was unexpected. We had no idea. We were first time parents, and she wasn't missing any major milestones. It was not very obvious, I think, to a trained eye. Maybe there were some questionable things, like I said, and it just wasn't so far off base. It made literally every professional say, yeah, I wouldn't want to diagnose her with this to overdiagnose, but also this may be a concern. So when that was presented to us, it knocked the wind out of me. I did not know what to expect. I didn't even know where to start. What are we even looking at? Even though, quite like literally, I was a medical technologist who was very familiar with the testing that was being done, but the emotions of what we were going through robbed me of all of my memory. So I just could not understand what was being said to me. But then once I kind of caught my wind and I said, okay, you think this was CMV, that's what they were thinking along the lines, until everything came back negative, and then you're just in a world of confusion. And so that's what it was for us at first. It was confusion. So then even when we were told she was diagnosed with cerebral palsy, because I feel like media shows you a single type of cerebral palsy, they don't show you the true umbrella or the true spectrum that cerebral palsy truly is. No cerebral palsy looks identical, right? So Harper has cerebral palsy. She's non-speaking, as well as she's not able to walk independently. There are other people who have cerebral palsy who are considered quadriplegic, where they cannot walk or talk and they're confined to a wheelchair. However, what people don't realize also is that it does not impact them mentally in a lot of cases. So people who are diagnosed with cerebral palsy still have the ability to communicate. They just need support. So Harper uses what's called an AAC, alternative augmentative device, which is a communication device that she uses as her voice. So she's able to communicate. Some people use eye gaze technology, where with that same device, it tracks their eye movement and is able to speak exactly what they're thinking. And so the emotions of being told that you have cerebral palsy, and then only having being exposed to cerebral palsy in the worst, absolute most profound version of it, I was like, no way. She doesn't have cerebral palsy. I've seen cerebral palsy. That's not this. Look at this kid. She likes to laugh. She likes to play with friends. There's a whole bunch of things that you're telling me that doesn't add up. And I rejected it until I actually had a physician who was willing to sit me down and say, listen, cerebral palsy is actually this umbrella. And so it was very hard for us, because again, we never saw the type of cerebral palsy that we were dealing with, but then also just the everyday challenges of living with a disability, how much it changes your life in your day to day. I never realized how much work we were doing until it was time it was this one time I was like, I want to go to church. And it was the hardest thing, because Harper needed so much support that I could barely get ready. So I got to church, and I remember being in tears the entire way, because I was sweating from trying to get myself together, trying to keep her stabilized or still, or just, leave me alone enough, and I know a lot of parents go through that. But it was a little bit
This is
more,
probably times 5, times 10.
because I was just like, I literally can't leave her. And it was crazy. And it was a lot that we were dealing with that we didn't even know that we were dealing with. Because again, we were first time parents, and we thought that this was just how everybody was enduring life. And so as we grew further into our journey, again, we're isolated. That is the most that's the feeling that I could go back to and explain that I felt the most, because when we got the diagnosis and then we started to understand what was happening to us, there was nobody we could talk to, because everybody, the life that we had lived to that point, everybody that we knew, nobody could understand us. And it was just like everybody, the worst part of it is everybody offers you solutions without truly understanding what you're dealing with. Because from where they stand, it looks easy because we make it look easy, you know, and people don't like to give us that credit. So, you know, the emotions of it is so many different things that I could describe, but that's ultimately what happens, is that isolation. And once you accept like nobody gets it, you sink further into that. So that was really difficult for us. And then we got connected with United Ability, thankfully, and we're able to attend hand in hand. Even then it was COVID, so we still had no exposure to other families, even though there were multiple children in Harper's class who had either similar diagnoses or more profound. Either way, we had no idea of what we were in because we were so isolated. And then, you know, COVID brought its own like isolation on top of that. So once everything started opening back up and we got exposed to more families, then we started to truly find community and was like, oh, you get exactly what I feel. And I felt so guilty for being angry at this person for making this comment to me that I was offended by. And they're offended because I told them not to say that, you know, so many different things that you go through. But that journey was definitely one that was rough.
So you said you found out, like you got the diagnosis when she was 9 months old?
The official diagnosis came at 18 months old. She started her milestones at 9 months.
Okay. So 18 months. How long did it take from 18 months till you were like, okay, I feel like I've been heard. I know what I'm doing. I've got some community. What was that time span?
5 years.
Woo, good Lord.
It was 5 years old before. So
that's a long time to be on a deserted island.
It is. It really, and like I said, even in finding community, you still don't know what you don't know. And those people don't know what to offer you because you don't know what, you know, what you're asking.
Right.
And when Harper was 4 years old, I got introduced to a program called the Medicaid waiver. So Alabama has the Medicaid waiver, the version, because there are 3 different waivers. We are on the elderly and disabled waiver because of her disabilities. It's considered nursing home level. And that's what you need to qualify for this particular waiver. And we don't qualify for Medicaid. You know, you make too much money. Yep. You don't qualify for SSI. You don't, you know, if you make too, and it's you literally almost, and I hate to describe it like this, but you literally have to be, the poverty level that you have to be at is almost as if it feels like you have to be dead. I mean, you have to literally be fighting for your life.
Yes. I've looked at the numbers. I'm like, who can live on that?
Me too. When I was applying, I was like, I don't qualify for this. I don't even know why I'm reading this application, because I would never qualify for this, even though people are telling you, you know, because again, you're surrounded by people who have no idea. And they're like, you should qualify for this, so go for it. And they don't take into account what that does to you. I'm someone who seriously needs help, and you're telling me to go after a program I don't qualify for. So that's extra stress that you're adding to that person, because I need help and I don't even qualify for help. And that's frustrating. And so when I learned about the waiver, I learned about impasse. I was literally passing this mom. She said, hey, do you know about the waiver? And I was like, who are you? Well, hello, you know, and she was like, I'm sorry, you know, and she introduced her. She said, but I found out about it, and I'm going to tell everybody that I can be. And that's how I found out about this program that helps you to qualify for basically Medicaid services. Because of her disability, she qualifies for it, and it's for, you know, basically like that middle class, you know, family, you know, that, you know, we make too much to qualify for Medicaid, but we still need assistance. And so the Medicaid waiver has definitely been a godsend. Thank you, Alabama, because we were paying so much out of pocket. I mean, because if you become the type of parent, when you finally embrace that label, that disability, and say, okay, this disability is not going to end your life. You can still thrive. And once you dig deep and you find that, you start to say, whatever it is I have to do to get you what you need to give you the best life possible, that's what I'm going to do. And you commit to that without committing to it, without even realizing that you do that. So we did what we had to. We were paying. We were like, if this is what she needs, then I don't have to go to the movies this week. I don't have to get that glass of wine, whatever it is that I need to do to make small adjustments so I can make sure I have the copays. The copays are insane. And then another part, and I'm probably jumping ahead, but
that's good.
When you find out what all insurance covers and what it does not, it floors you. Insurance would not cover my child's wheelchair because they said it was not a medical necessity. And I remember saying,
I'm going to drag her around.
How can you say it's not a medical necessity when she cannot walk? I was floored by that. And Harper with cerebral palsy, she needs therapy. She needs daily therapy to prevent her spasticity from worsening, right? And so we were like, we need therapy. And we were told you only get 15 therapy sessions a year. 15 is insanely low for someone who has the type of, that spasticity that is so profound that, it could impact her ability to move. So if she stays in therapy, she continues to improve, but insurance tells you only get 15 and that's it. And that's 15 split between PT, OT, and speech. So occupational therapy, physical therapy, and speech therapy. So it was I think that's what was jaw dropping for me, is that I was told, no, we know you need this, I think it was a $2,000 wheelchair. And we were looking at getting ready to pay it out of pocket. So when you guys see these parents that are developing GoFundMes, or I have 2 friends right now that have GoFundMes out, that they are, just trying to, make life a little easier for their children. They are genuinely in need because insurance does not cover so much of what these children who came here born this way, they don't care. They're like, and I won't say they don't care. Let me rephrase that.
They're just limited in what they can do.
And also what they know.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how you can make that determination that a wheelchair is not a medical necessity for someone who literally has a diagnosis that says, that they have mobility limitations. So
do you have any guess? I love percentages, but do you have any guess what percentage you would probably overspend to provide your child with these extras than a family without a disabled child?
Ooh, it's so much that I don't know. It's hard because if you think about the entirety of her life, it's not even just the therapies that we were paying for extra.
Let's just say in 1 year.
In 1 year, percentage of what we paid for. Like, you mean like all of the services?
Yeah, just your extra, just to give her a good quality of life. How much extra more money, nice language, extra money you would pay percentage wise just to get her the things that make her life better?
Ooh, that percentage it's going to be large. I feel like maybe 65%. Like, it's probably higher.
It doesn't matter if it's accurate or not, but it's not 20%. Definitely. And it's not 10%. 65% is a lot.
Yes.
So,
because that's every aspect of life, what is offered, and then what she needs is always,
Well, and the reason why we're talking about this today on this show is because we cover finances. And one of the services that I offer is that I can do a financial review with people, and I can look at what's going on. And then also we can set you up for the future, because all families, we are enjoying our sweet, precious babies, that we forget to think about what could happen if I go driving down the road one day and someone's texting and not paying attention and going 80 miles an hour and run into us and injure us or kill us. Let's just talk about injury. Just the physical stress, I know being a caregiver can cause problems. My mother was caring for my dad with dementia for 9 years. She had breast cancer somewhere in the middle of there, and I'm going, whew. But the sickness comes when you have dis-ease, and when you are overwhelmed and stressed, stress causes cancer. So if a family, if a caregiver gets cancer, some of the programs that I offer, we're able to fund that and accelerate money to you. And so it depends on however you want to fund it, but it could be $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 if something happened. So it's important to take a look at, because we're not guaranteed anything, and probably stats show that 1 in 4 will have some kind of critical or chronic illness. So let's take care of it. And hey, let's just say all is well and you live to be the ripe old age of 80, and your child lives to be the ripe old age of 60. But eventually when you move on and say bye world, then what's your child going to do? And there's ways to set up a trust, and it definitely takes a team to have an attorney to build a trust and set up a trust, and have a financial advisor or benefits advisor is what I do. And mine's free of charge. Some people charge money, just you got to pick and choose, explore, but we can definitely meet up and get that situated, because took you 5 years to find your people and find your support. What happened once you had a plan in place? What happened to you emotionally and mentally?
The Wildflower Alliance came. Seriously, like I once I felt like I found my footing, is what I'll say. I still then went on a journey of still discovering things, and it was like I just did not know that. Luckily, I feel like I have learned a lot about where we are in our journey, and it changes as the individual ages.
Absolutely.
And so it's just like, for me, I could breathe again. I could. It was still a lot of work that I had to do. So yes, I qualified. Like, we got the waiver. But that doesn't change the appointment. We're still going to appointments weekly and having to do that. But it makes it a little bit easier financially, now that I have a program that could help me get those services without out-of-pocket costs to me. That once I could breathe again, now it lightens my load in the sense that I could think again. And then once I was like, you know what? I found out about this by chance. There are people who are probably never going to hear about these programs and are walking the same walk that I did. We can change that. We're too far advanced in 2025 for people to still be out here struggling and feeling alone as isolated as I felt. We have too many platforms where we can connect virtually just to give you information, or, via text, Slack, have these different channels. So there are different things that we could do to connect people to resources and information. And that's what we're committed to doing. But I only got there because at the same time that I caught my breath, I got laid off of my job. And, but luckily we were in a position financially where we can handle. I got laid off right before Mason was born. So I was laid off at 8.5 months. So imagine that, something like that happening to someone, again, who still hadn't even discovered these resources out here. That's just not easy. And so I do a lot of, work for parents. Like, hey, what can I do? Can I make phone calls for you while you're at work? Because a lot of these phone calls are going to be extended wait times. And you have to, especially like if I was still working in the lab, I just cannot imagine what my life would look like, because you get 15-minute breaks, you get 2 and lunch. That's it. And that's all you have. So once I got to a place where I figured out the resources, I figured out what was out there, and I paired it with what we need, because like I said, we did so much work on, hey, what is it that Harper needs? We'll prioritize that. And then here we are introduced with this second kid. So now it's kind of readjusting and making sure that he's going to get what he needs. She gets what she needs. And so we're going to continue to work in that way. But I was only able to do that because I discovered what was available to me. And so that's where, the Wildflower Alliance was born. And I was able to truly think about what is it that families are missing? What do they need? How can we, help? How can I just help people? And so I ended up doing this full time. Like I'm in it for the long run. I don't see myself going back into a corporate position because I feel like I could take my skills and I can apply them to help someone else and have more of an impact for people. I think I have a heart for people. And I think I want to serve in that way with my life. So that's what came out of this. Once I could breathe again, once I could breathe again, then I could restructure my life. I could do things. And that's where it's going to be for me.
So it's so funny because I feel like, so I am not from the wealthy party. I mean, good for them. Some of them just inherited. They don't know how that happened. They're like, I'll take it.
I was here.
Here's what happens is the best advice I ever got financially was just go ask somebody else what they're doing. You don't have to copy them. Just go, what are you doing? So I started asking around because I started off as a special ed teacher, income here. Then I got into sales and my income went here. I was like, oh, what do I do with all this money now? I was so rich. I could eat a Chick-fil-A whenever I wanted to. That's my definition. Yes. So take it as needed. Yeah. But I started asking people and they're like, oh, well, I do this and I do this. And I was like, what? So it's a very simple education because I learned just a few little things in layman's term because I just asked people what they were doing and I wrote it down. And the most powerful thing is when you're in community, because when you're isolated, you're in your own little head and that's not a fun neighborhood to hang out in. Right. So the beauty of what you're doing is you are creating community. And I just want to encourage anyone that has anyone related with a disability to compare notes, to connect up. And I know that you host several events. Like you've got the Blades. Tell me about the Blades.
Oh yeah, our Buddy Blades. So our Buddy Blades is so our signature program of the Wildflower Alliance is inclusive playdates. So inclusive playdates are intended to give that equity back into people's lives. So like I said, reintroducing to them the humanness of being, whatever it was that you dreamed of being. And so a lot of parents always dreamed about play dates and, oh, we're going to be able to do these things. But as parents of children with disabilities, when we go to play dates, we're hands-on, we're on duty still. I have to either, hover over you, or in my situation, I'm doing the work. I'm making sure you can get up the slide, down the slide. I'm running down to catch you at the bottom of the slide, while other friends that we were invited by are able to just kind of stand back and watch their kids. And so
they're discussing finances and investments, and you're missing out.
And I missed out on all the conversations at every play date that I ever went to. I was never present. And then in addition to that, you have the children getting that social interaction, but kids with disabilities don't get that. And so we're reintroducing that. One of the hardest things that I used to have to watch was when I would take Harper to the playground, watching other parents pull their kids away from her. And I used to I was so hurt by that. I was so offended. I was angry. I was mad. But the further I got into, I'll say, my leadership in the disability community is where I learned that that's not intentional what they think they're doing. Because then I thought back, oh yeah, you will always hear them say, oh, come on, honey, stay out of her way. So they thought, oh, hey, don't get in her way. She's trying to work. But what you were really doing was robbing everybody of an opportunity. You robbed my daughter of an opportunity to make a friend. You robbed your child of an opportunity to make a friend with a kid that clearly looks different. And they probably wanted to walk up and say, hey, what's wrong with her? That's what a kid is going to say. There is nothing wrong with that. It's not offensive. We teach them there's nothing wrong with her. She just has to have help while she's walking. And they say, oh, can I help? You're right.
Yeah.
So that was one of my passions. Like I hate it so bad. And then you also robbed me, or you're giving me the opportunity to watch my kid, get excluded. That's hurtful. And so I'm changing that. That's what inclusive playdates are about. We're going to pair children with disabilities and without disabilities together. And then we're also going to give them an adult like overseer, right? This inclusion captain that's going to make sure that they are facilitating that engagement with them to help them learn how to communicate with each other. And it also gives that adult, or whoever the chaperone is of the pairing, to learn how to communicate effectively with a child with a disability. And we teach them how to do that based off of that child's capability. So if you are the inclusion captain of a pair of children where one of them is non-speaking, well, here are the activities they have to complete, and this is how the child that has a mobility issue can complete the activity. If they're non-speaking, this is how you can continue to engage them and get them to pair with the kid, and this is how you can get the kid without the disability to ask the kid with the disability. So there's just so much. And then the best part of it, the parent gets to stand back, talk to other parents, watch their child, take pictures, and see enjoyment on their children's faces. So that's a passion of mine, because I was robbed of that so many times. I, like you said, missed out on those conversations where a lot of information is being exchanged and I don't get to participate in them. So we're really intentional about reintroducing that aspect of parenthood and that parent's journey back into their lives and making them feel just whole for a second,
This takes us back to your favorite thing, which is kid-free moments with your friends. So you are facilitating that for kid-free moments, so the parents can sit down and go, and take a minute and look at the kid go, they're good, they're having fun.
And they're still in my sight. I'm not worried. You're not out of the room. We don't, here in the beginning, we don't want the parents to leave. I do dream of getting to a place where they can leave for a few hours if they need to, and they can come back. But right now, everything is on site, and parents can breathe again and feel like parents, even just for 2 hours.
Just to sit down on a picnic table and not have to be climbing all over the jungle gym with them. That's huge.
Scroll on your phone freely.
Yes.
Freely, like that's it. So our Buddy Blades is happening December 16th at Skates 280. And that's exactly what it is. It's going to be a glow party, and the kids are going to be skating and glowing all over the arena, and we'll have fun activities for them to do. We're looking for sponsors so that they can play those games that all the kids do you have some Chick-fil-A money? We're going to give them that Chick-fil-A money so that they can go over there and play those games and just do all the fun things that I feel like most kids are able to do. But again, once a disability is introduced into your life, that's one of the smallest things that's going to go away, but has such a huge impact. So we did Buddy Bounce before this one. Buddy Bounce was at a trampoline park, so going to everyday spaces and transforming them into places where everybody is included. That's what our inclusive playdates are all about.
Well, y'all, I checked out Latoya's website, and it's so incredible. She has mapped out resources beautifully. Like, it made my brain happy just to look at it, because it's mapped out. Because when you're overwhelmed, you just like, I just need a happy place to Google. It's a happy place to Google. I did also want to offer up this resource, because you do need to connect with an attorney to get a trust built. That's part of your team that you want to have. I did find the specialneedsalliance.org, and there's several different resources that I've connected with. So if you have any questions, you can always email me and go, now, who is that lady that was on, and how do I find her? And then how do I have a chat with you about setting myself up so that my child can have extras? I was just looking at, if you took a grown person with disabilities, they might only get like $967 from SSI. Mm-hmm. Well, you know what? They might want to go bowl once a month, or they might want to go to lunch twice a month, and they need a little extra cash. And the cool thing is, $100, $200 starting today can turn into something tomorrow that could give them that, and could even be used for your other children that might just need to we were discussing starting a hair salon, skipping college, but would love to connect with you on that. And if you do have a friend or you work at a company that would love to sponsor, email me and I'll connect you up with Latoya. She'll be happy to have you sponsor. If you want to volunteer, call me and let me know.
Yes, and we train all of our volunteers. So I'm very, like I said, I was offended when those parents were pulling kids away. But I see it differently now. It's just that you don't know. And so I feel like people want to volunteer, but they're afraid because it's like, well, I don't know what to do. Well, don't worry, I got you. I would never put you in a situation where you feel unprepared. And so we are very intentional about making sure that all of our volunteers know what they're going to be, what kids they're going to be paired with, a little bit more about their abilities, and then how you can interact with them. So it's just as rewarding for you as it is for those children. And the parents. So like I said, I'm here for everybody. I'm trying to serve everybody, not just, my disability friends. I'm all about changing the world. And I feel like the world has the heart to want to be inclusive and to be inclusive, but you just don't have the opportunities to get it. So we're trying to create those opportunities.
Awesome. Well, I so appreciate you being with us. I love the tagline, go be great and go be you. And you have obviously been doing that. She is a detailed person, if you haven't noticed, with the Mama Bear charge. I love it. So she's got the tenacity and the charge and the details. So she doesn't mind sitting on those phone calls for you. Ooh, I would not be good at that.
Yeah.
I can do marketing, not sitting on the phone on those details. But appreciate y'all. Go be great. Go be you. Pass this podcast to a friend that you think needs it, and see how you can get connected and be more inclusive.
Yes. Thank you.